The first thing that I would get rid of would be the Internal Revenue Service. And we'd have a complete getting rid of a $10 billion a year industry.
Wild applause for axing the IRS.
And the talk of a fair tax. That's what Mike Huckabee was saying at the CNN YouTube debate. He said he's endorsing this idea of a fair tax. It's easy, it's simple to use, and a number of the Republican candidates sort of said they like that idea too.
Our next guest says it means, in no spin language, a national retail sales tax. He's here to break it down for us. Pat Regnier, senior editor at Money Magazine. Wow, well, the Republicans in the crowd certainly like the idea of getting rid of the IRS and making a more simple tax system. What is the fair tax first?
Yeah, let's unspin it and let's just say what it actually is. It's a national retail sales tax. So the way it works is it's a 30% markup on basically everything you buy. Now, in exchange for that, it takes away all the other taxes you pay. So you're not paying an income tax. What's left of the estate?
Federal income tax.
You're not paying a federal income tax. What's left of the estate tax goes away. The payroll taxes that go to Social Security and Medicare goes away. So the idea is you move taxation away from income and towards what you spend.
So these are some of the taxes that go away if you go to this fair tax. So that means whether I make $2 million a year or $200,000 a year or $20,000 a year, I pay an extra amount on a gallon of milk, a gallon of gas, my rent, my health care, everything.
That's right. I mean, certainly it's at the marginal rate, right? So the other thing that they do to make this tax less punishing on the poor, because frankly, sales taxes, if they're just a flat sales tax, are terrible for people who basically spend every dollar that they make, which is actually most of us. They pay a disproportionate amount of the tax. So this is adjusted by basically the government having send everybody a check. And that sort of changes the effective tax rate.
And everybody gets the same check, based on if every single household will get the same amount of money.
Based on the size of your household,
right.
That's right.
Is it going to happen?
I think it's very unlikely. This is a very big change. I think the appeal of it for most of the people who support it is that it wipes away the IRS. It at least at first would get rid of all of the various interests that have all their special tax rules that they've fought very hard for, which are sometimes lobbyists, but are often sort of congressmen fighting for their constituents and legitimate political interest groups. The tax code is a very complicated thing, and there are a lot of people who value a lot of the things in the tax code, so they'd be fighting that. And on top of that, you're talking about something that would change the real price of everything. So that has huge complicated effects on the value of the dollar, sort of where our economy fits in international markets.
You got a whole bunch of people going back the other side of the border, back to Canada or to Mexico to buy stuff where they don't have that kind of a tax. I mean, it's more cumbersome than it appears when you first say one fair tax for everybody. There's more to it.
We've said before so many times, let's scrap the tax code. Let's reform the tax code. Let's look at this monster, whatever it is, that is, as you said, lobbyists in there, congressmen rooting for what they want, and let's make it simpler. But we never really seem to do it.
It's very hard. I mean, the last time you had a really big tax code change was in the 1980s, and that was, I mean, people in Washington talk about that as like one of the greatest bipartisan moments in Washington, in anybody's memory. And the tax code got simpler and fairer.
And it's still two telephone books big.
And then it's eroded since then. Yeah. And so everybody talks about, well, how could we bring it back? And I think the dream of the fair taxers and the people who like this are very passionate about it is we could just do it all in one fell swoop.
Right.
I'm pretty skeptical about that.
All right, and remember, even if they get rid of the IRS, the government's still going to have somebody enforcing cheaters. So you can call it something else, but it's still going to be
That's right. Any government where taxes are getting paid, there's a man with a calculator and a gun somewhere.
Right.
All right,
Pat Regnier, good to see you. Thank you.